Welcome back to Darn It Yarns and Diane Harlan. Today we are going to talk about everything fantasy for little girls. And today we are going to make crowns. This is a continuation of our fantasy for little girls, and we did some fairy stuff. Now we're going to work on some crowns. As you can see, I have several different variations of crowns here. This one is, I've added some beads to. This one has a little bit of fillet. This one has a sparkle to it with some sequin yarn. And then we have some that are made for babies, which are made with actual thread. It's a metallic thread, so we have two of those. And then here we've done another variation where we've added some hair. The little girls love having this long flowing hair, even though it may be pink and purple and white, but this just gives them a little bit of a variation to their crowns. And maybe they don't have any hair yet, so maybe that's another thing that we can add some hair to little ones that don't have hair. Today I'm going to show you how to make a basic crown, and what you'll need is just some scrap yarn. These do not take much yarn at all, probably less than 50 grams for sure. Just scrap yarn that you have laying around. You can use scrap thread. This is just a 10 weight metallic thread, as I said. These are for babies. These are great for doing photo shoots for newborns. They're adorable with that. These are just great little things for your granddaughters, your daughters, the neighbor girl to have in their wardrobe from when they're playing make-believe or damsel in distress or Rapunzel or whoever they want to be for that day. So as I said, we're going to start out with a basic. This is a basic crown, and so what I'm going to start out with, this size will fit a toddler, so we're going to do a toddler size. Of course, you would increase or decrease your chains to make smaller sizes or larger sizes. This one has about 72 chains to start. And again, that's for a toddler, probably about a 2 to a 5 or 6 year old, and then the smaller for the 6 to 9 months here, and then the newborn here. So we're going to start, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to do 72 chains. So we'll start out, and I'm using an H hook. Again, I said you can go smaller for the babies and larger if you want one for yourself. So again, start out with chain 72. Okay, so we have 72 here. That looks really big. Actually, that's too big. I'm going to pull that out to like about 10. To bring that down to 62. Maybe I'm just crocheting a little bit loose, and you'll be able to know. Actually, if you have the child that you're making it for, it might be a good thing to try it on their head and put your chains on their head to decide how big you need to make it. It's just going to fit right down at the crown, so right at probably at the bang line. Just sets on top of the head, not down. You could put it down. This one has hers down, but that's more of a I would consider more of a headdress. Actually, that's another thing. You can make Indian headdresses with the same pattern, just maybe leave off the crown, unless you want to be an Indian princess. So I've taken 10 out, which will make it 62. And what you do is you're going to slip stitch it to make a ring, and make sure that you do not twist it. So what I do is I take my finger and run it so I have the flat side facing, and then I bring it around, and as I said, we're going to join it here. So if you twist it, then you're in a mess. I'll just tell you that. So try very hard to keep from twisting it. and I sometimes do not always get that done. I think I'm good here. So there you have your ring, and that's the base of your crown. So the first row that you're going to do is you're just going to do a double crochet in the first row. So you're going to chain 2, which will count as your first double crochet, and you're going to double crochet in every chain around the crown. This will be the base. And as I said, this is just very, very simple. It's something that you can make very quickly. It's a good rainy day project. It's a good project for summer because, you know, life doesn't end in winter and Afghans. There's so much summer stuff that you can make, so much fun stuff that you can crochet. The possibilities are endless of what you can do. And a lot of it is just being creative in your own mind of, you know, what you want. Sometimes I start out without a pattern, and I think about other things that I've done and ways I can use, like, you know, I made those baby flip-flops, and which you can make booties and all different things from that. But I just recently made a cowboy hat, and I used that booty pattern for the top of my cowboy hat. So it's just, you know, things that you remember that you've done before that you can be very creative. Crochet is very forgiving. You can make mistakes, which I do every day, and nobody knows it but you. So it's always nice. And this is one of those things that if you made a mistake, nobody cares. Because it's fun, and that little girl that's going to be wearing it is going to be happy with it no matter what. And this is another thing too. This travels very well. So if you're going off to see your granddaughters or family members, these pack really easily in a suitcase or in your pocket even. So it could be a little gift that you could bring along that's not going to take up a bunch of room. They're great for birthday parties too. If you had, you know, you could make your daughter, your granddaughter, one for her birthday, and then you could make smaller ones or different colored ones for all her little guests, and it wouldn't take you no time at all, and it would be something they could take home with them, and it's not going to fall apart in 5 minutes after they get home, and then they're going to be sad because their beautiful crown has fell to bits because it was just paper. Another thing that I will tell you, these are soft. If you know, they're very flexible, but if you want them to be firm, you can starch them. You can put them on a bowl and starch them with spray starch, heavy spray starch, and of course, you know, it's not toxic, so it's something that you could do, and when it loses its shape, redo. I know that probably you all will remember that. Well, I remember my grandma used to do doilies, and she had one that had swans in it, and it stood up so stiff on the middle of her table, and she'd starch that thing forever to get it to stand up like that. And you better not flatten one of those swans or you're going to be in big trouble. But the spray starch is good. You can stiffen them, but actually, like, if you use the worsted weight, they really do not need to be stiffened. Another thing, the tighter your stitches will make them stand up too. So if you crochet a little bit tighter, it won't hurt anything. Let's see, I'm making sure here I didn't twist it, so we don't want to have to start over again. No, we're good. So we're down to our last stitch, and you're going to slip stitch to the top of your first chain 2. So that is your first row, which is just 62 double crochets. Well, actually 61 with the chain 2 counting as your first one, which is 62. So we're going to put, you can either do one or two things here. You can put 2 rows of double crochets, or you can put a double crochet and a half double crochet, however tall you want your crown to be. You can also do it in a variation here. I did, this is like a chain 5, and so it's more like a fishnet, which is real cute too, and you can do them like that. There's so many variations. This one is just chains and shells and a picot at the top. This one is just double crochets, and then it has some shells at the top with a picot. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do one more row. And what we're going to do on this row is we're going to do a V-stitch, which a V-stitch is just a chain 2 to start, and then you're going to, well, actually it's going to be a chain 4 to start because it's going to count as your first double, and then 2 chains, and then we're going to double crochet right back in the same place. So it's going to make like a upside down V, or a V like this. So then you're going to skip 1. You're going to double crochet in the next one, chain 2, and double crochet right back in the same hole. So you're going to repeat that pattern around, and it's just going to be little V's, because that's where we're going to put our shell stitch and then our picot. So what we're going to do is we're going to repeat that. So you're going to skip 1 chain, you're going to double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet all in the same stitch. So it's double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet all in the same stitch. Skip 1, and then you're going to repeat that pattern around. So it's double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. And I'm going to go ahead and repeat that, and I will meet you around to the end here. I thought about making one of these for my mother, who's going to have at the end of the summer, she'll be 88 years old. So I was thinking, she deserves a crown. You know, that'd be another thing. Maybe she needs one for Mother's Day. Maybe there would be something you could do for fun for Mother's Day for your mom or your friend or whoever. Because, of course, being a mother myself, I want to feel like I'm a queen for a day. There has to be a lot of benefits to those staying up late with babies crying and sick babies and all of those things we do, sitting at ball games till wee hours in the morning watching them play ball. So maybe I'll make myself a crown for the day. Okay, we're down to our last stitch, and see we have 3 left. So we're going to double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, and then when we're skipping, so we're going to slip stitch to the top of the first chain 3 space. And this is what it looks like thus far. You'll get it to stand up and everything, so when you don't have the heavy hook. Okay, so that is your second row, and now your third row is going to be your shell stitches. And there are 6 shell stitches, so you do 3 double crochets, and then you're going to do a picot at the top, which I'll show you how to do, and then 3 more. And then you're going to skip 1 V and single crochet, or I'm sorry, in the next V you're going to single crochet, and then you'll repeat that pattern around, but we'll go through it. And this would be the row that if you were interested, you could add some beads. So we're going to go ahead and start our first shell pattern. So since we're at the beginning, we need to chain 3, which is going to count as our first double crochet. And then we're going to put 2 more double crochets right in the middle of that V stitch. So it'd be in that chain 2 space of your V stitch. So there is 1, 2. So there are your first 3 double crochets. So now we're going to make the picot stitch, and it's going to be chain 2. Now, you're going to slip stitch right back in the top of that last chain 3 space. So it's just going to be a slip stitch. And it makes a little little bump there at the top, which will be the peak of our crown. So now we're going to double crochet 3 more times right in the same space, in that chain 2 space of the previous row. So now that's what your peak's going to look like. So that'll be your first crown peak. And see, you have your little bump on the top from your picot stitch. Okay, so in the next one, you're not going to do, so in your next V-stitch, you're just going to single crochet. So you're just going to single crochet in this one. And then your next V-stitch, you'll go ahead and repeat this. So it's going, your first shell stitch. So it's going to be 3 double crochets in that chain 2 space. And then at the top, you're going to chain 2. And then you're going to slip stitch right back in the top of that double crochet that you had just made. So that's a slip stitch. And see, it makes that little perfect little knot on the top, or your little peak to your crown. And then 3 more double crochets. So there you have 1, and then you single crochet, and then there's your next shell. And now we're going to single crochet in the next V-stitch in that chain 2 space. And we're going to just repeat that pattern around. So you're ready for your next shell. Okay, so we're back at the end. And now we're going to slip stitch to that first chain 3 space. And we are done. Again, this one looks like it's laying a little bit big, but I'm going to put it on my head and show you that it stands right up. Also, you can put it on a bowl and starch it, and it'll stand up. But, you know, you have some 10 and 11-year-olds that have adult-size heads, so this would be a perfect size for them. Well, I'm thinking toddler, and it'd be perfect size for me. Maybe I'll just take this one home and wear it. Okay, so we're going to add hair to this. And what we're going to do is I'm going to use some white and then add in some navy blue. If you look here, I did some purple and white for this crown, and we've got some different, but it just makes a cute little headdress for them to wear. Like I said, you've got some little ones that may not have any hair, so it just is real cute. They can wear it, and you can add clips to them or whatever you want. This one's a little bit smaller. So basically, the first thing you're going to do, and these peaks, the good thing about this is, like I said, you can just stretch those peaks up. You can adjust that. It's very forgiving. Yarn's very forgiving. You can manipulate it any way you want. So we're going to pretend this is 2 feet long here in front of me. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut strips. Usually what I do is I count the holes, because I usually put 2 to 3, depending on the thickness of my yarn, 2 to 3 strips in each hole. So if you want to leave about 20 open in the front. So in our case, there was 60 holes, and we're going to take, 20 out. So we're looking at 40. So what you're going to do is you're going to do 2 times 40, which is 80. So, because that's what I'm going to put in. Now I'm not going to cut all those. I'm just going to cut some and show you. So again, you just measure about 2 feet or whatever length you want. You can be the judge of that. Like I said, it's entirely up to you. This is your project, and once you start it, you'll know. And the good thing about crocheting and working with yarn, if you don't like it, you can just tear it out and start over. It's not like you have to live with it. It's not a permanent thing. Doesn't have to be. So I have several strips here. Again, they're 24 inches or approximately that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 in each place. But I want to start from the front to the back. So I know where I left off. Here's the back. The way I'm going to find the front is I'm going to fold it in half. So this is going to be my front too. And this is how I count. Because you want 20 evenly across, I do it like this. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. So this is where I want to start putting my hair in. You can mark that too if you want. I'm just not going to take the time to do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to insert your hook front to back. You're going to fold your strands in half, and you're going to put it on your hook, slip it through, and now pull up a loop. And then you're going to take, now you have 4 strands because it's doubled, and you're just going to pull it through, all 4 strands through your loop. And there's your first set of hair. And once you get, and you're going to do it all the way around in all of your chains around. So here's your second one. Now sometimes if you want, you can put like 2 blues. If you notice, I put some solid colors in, and then I've variegated it, and I have solids in one color, and then, you know, multicolor, and you just do whatever you want to in it. It, like I said, it's very forgiving, and it's your project, and everybody will think it's nice no matter what you do. Neon hair would be kind of cute too for the summer. Neon colors are really popular. I've got a lot of neon yarn in, and so you just braid down the front or in the back, or, you know, several places throughout, and it just gives it a cute little variation there. And then again, I said you could add some beads. I've got some little pony beads here. And all you do is you're just, I wouldn't suggest these with the little ones. They look too much like candy, the bright, pretty colors. I'm all about keeping your babies safe. And if you do decide that you want to, you know, put them on your babies, then make sure that you secure them on so they don't come off. So in that case, I would tie them on tight. But you could do it like that. If I was putting it on just for my older children that shouldn't put things in their mouth, or wouldn't. So there you go. So you have a different variation. You could also make for a boy's version, if you wanted to do something like this, I was just thinking about this, you could leave the crown part off, and well, actually kings wore crowns, so you could make a male one for a boy, but you could do a pirate version of it and make a kind of a big crown at the top and off on the sides, and maybe a skull and crossbone in the middle, and then you could put some beads down like Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that. Would be very cute for a different variation to that. I think that's all I have today. I enjoyed you being here. I look forward to you coming back, and it's always a pleasure. This is Diane Harlan at Darn It Yarns.